Hey everyone, Judy here at URE Farm. Well, we're in mid-March now and spring is just a few days away and it's time to jump into a new gardening season. I always look forward to that, starting fresh and new, to watch new plants grow, to have a chance to start over again and see what we can do this year. So I want to go over things with you today, my thinking on getting my garden started and some of my strategies, and show you an update of how things are coming along so far that I've had going over the winter and where I'm going to go from here. So I hope you'll come along and maybe you'll learn something and maybe you'll have some suggestions for me. So let's get started. I planted seeds this week and put them under the lights, and I have a heat mat under them to get them to germinate. So trying to get an early start on the summer garden. I planted pepper seed and tomato seed and squash and cucumber and beet seed. Last year I took in this little section right on the edge of our yard and next to our pasture fence, and I started it by covering it with some black ground cover to kill the grass that was there. Black ground cover just really does not do well for the soil, but there are occasions when we need to use it to try to kill out some plants that we want to get rid of. I don't have this little garden enclosed with a fence to keep the wildlife out, but I don't think that they like potatoes, so I'm going to try it and see if that works this year. Now I want you to see how well this ground is working, how loose it seems. Last fall, late summer, fall, I had a cover crop in here. Didn't come up too well, but it did help some. Now you can see how easy it is to work up that row just with a little hoe. And you can see how loose the ground is and how it has some good structure. So I hope as I continue to work with it with vegetables and cover crops, it's going to get even better. This, I think, is my third year of no-till gardening, and I really like it. I've tried many other ways over the years, and some of them have worked good for a while, like the mulch system. But overall, so far, I like working with no-till and cover crops better. For one thing, with the mulch, found it hard to find hay or straw that I was not concerned about what had been put on it when it was grown. So this way I don't have to think about that. So you see how easily I can work this row up and get it ready to put some potatoes in. And I get my exercise. Now, if I came in here with the tiller and tilled this, instead of just using the hoe on the row here, I would be turning up all kind of weed seeds. I would have lots more growth from weeds that I don't want than by doing it this way with a hoe. Also, I would be disturbing the soil life more, and also I could be creating a hard pan under where the tiller tines hit the ground, and keep hitting it and make it hard for water to penetrate. So I like this way much better. Now this garlic has grown quite a bit in the last couple of weeks, and last week I did fertilize it with some fish fertilizer with seaweed in it. So that helped give it a boost, and it's coming along. And it seems like this extra wire that I put up over this Premier 1 netting is keeping the deer out so far. You can see that this cover crop has grown and the deer have not eaten it down again. So the garden is all lush and green right now. So that's what I want when I start out in the spring. Now up here, if you remember from the last video, the deer had eaten my strawberries off, and they're starting to come back now, so I hope that I will get some strawberries this year. So we'll see how that goes. You know, down here is another little garden area that has cover crop, and the deer had eaten it down, but it's come back now, so I'm happy with that. This is my asparagus bed, and we put some chip bark on that for mulch, so glad to have that done. And you can see that the fall garden is almost gone now. We have a few collards left, and they're beginning to flower, getting ready to produce seed. I planted these from seed that I saved from the garden from last year. So, and then it still has some really nice leaves on it that make good food. So I've enjoyed having that all winter, fresh greens from the garden. Now this year, I planned for this area here to be my sweet potato garden. So I think what I'll do to start with is to plant a cover crop there and let that grow until it's time to plant sweet potatoes. Now this garden right here is where I'm planting my potatoes. I had a cover crop there, and it was starting to grow and look pretty nice. But it's time to take it down so I can plant potatoes. I like to plant them the last week of March here in central North Carolina. So you can see these 3 rows on the right are already planted. If you remember from my last video, from potatoes that had sprouted more than usual in my refrigerator. So I went ahead and put them in the ground and see if that would work. And now I've got 3 more rows on the left here that I hoed, so I plan to put potatoes in there. Now this garden here, you may remember from other videos, that was a part of our yard, and I took it in for garden because we don't like to mow that much and we needed more space to grow some things. So I planted some cover crop seed last fall, and also I let the vetch go to seed out here last summer. So I've got some nice cover here now, and my intention this year is to use this as a no-till garden. I had North Georgia candy roasters in this whole garden last year, and they did really well. I was real pleased with those. This year I hope to use about half this garden for that again, and also hope to put some other vegetables out here too. So you stay with me and we'll see how all this works out and what we can learn this season and what we can produce this season. You can see the cows and the goats enjoying this new lush grass that's starting to grow now. It's always a great relief to see the grass coming in the springtime after a long winter, hoping that the animals will do good through the wintertime. And so far they have. We try to feed our animals as much as possible from our own land and let them graze or browse as is natural for them. And for the most part, their food does come from our farm. We do buy just a little alfalfa, organic alfalfa pellets to give to them in the wintertime, but for the most part, it is just what they can graze and browse from our farm. Okay, now that's all I have for you today, so let's all jump into the gardening season and try to raise something good for our families, and I'll see you on the next video.